All right, perfect. Okay, so the circular economy and circular design, really one and the same, honestly. So here's the workshop we're going through. What I want to tell you is I do recommend, if any of you want to take screenshots of this presentation, feel free to do so. You can post it to Instagram or social media. Here's our Instagram. Please follow us. We're building our small audience. And then I've garnered the template of this small group workshop is from the circulardesignguide.com. I encourage each of you to go check that out. Truly amazing free resources. You can host your own workshop based on what they have. And then a lot of the information too, I get from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And they let me know one of them was gonna try to join. I don't know if they're on. If you are, unmute yourself, but we might have an Ellen MacArthur Foundation representative on with us. But again, it's 8 or 9 p.m. England time there because they're based in Wales. So I don't blame them if they don't join. But anyway, ellenmacarthurfoundation.org has an array of amazing information on the circular economy. And I was very lucky and fortunate to be accepted into their program this spring from Linear to Circular Atlanta. So it didn't happen in Atlanta because it was supposed to be in March to May. So it ended up being an online thing. But it was a really great group of people from all walks of life and around the world. I learned a ton from it. And I really recommend these guides to just immerse yourself in your own research and you know what you do for yourself for the circular economy in your own business. Oops. Okay, so the principles of the circular economy. These are key to circular design. So this graphic is from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And it's a system where we're shifting away from the linear economy to a circular economy. And there's 3 main principles. And that would be design out waste and pollution. And that's very integral to this webinar today. And then keep products and materials in use. And that, surprisingly, is probably the biggest aspect of circular design, because the design of a product for circular design goes way beyond the product. It's really all about the systems and the business cases and the user experience, all the way from supply chains to the production floor to the customer delivery to the customer user experience. So truly circular design encompasses everything. And then finally, the 3rd main principle is regenerating natural systems. So for example, composting for food waste. Instead of throwing it in the trash, put it in the compost and it can go back to the soil to make the soil that much richer. Okay. So I'm gonna go through each of these 3 principles a little bit and just elaborate on this. Again, this graphic is from, I suppose you guys, I don't know if you can see that on the bottom, but it's from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. And I'll share this presentation to my website for you. But designing out waste and pollution. So what this is telling us is 80%, if you can see my mouse right here, 80% of environmental impacts are determined by waste or in the design process. At the design stage, where about 80% of environmental impacts are determined. So design is so crucial to the circular economy because that's where the waste and the pollution of the linear economy predominantly comes from. That, and of course, the end of consumer, the disposable lifestyle that many in the world have. So when we design, most products do produce some type of byproduct in the production phase. So in my business, I'm in fashion and we're making apparel and napkins and all sorts of stuff. So our waste become these fabric scraps that are inevitable, that we can't get around having. So how can we decrease waste byproducts during production? What can I do to have fewer fabric scraps or fabric waste? Or can I eliminate these fabric scraps or fabric waste 100%? Or something that was said to me in my From Linear to Circular small group with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation this spring, it's only waste if you don't use it. So if I have fabric scraps, if I throw them away, that's waste. But if I use those fabric scraps to make something else, that's not waste. It happens to be a byproduct that I use it, and it, it's no longer waste. And there is a saying that we said a lot in the Spring From Linear to Circular program, leaky but nutritious. So it's a funny saying, but it might be impossible to have zero waste or zero leakage, but if that leakage can be nutritious in some way to the rest of the system, that's okay. So a leaf falls from the tree, it gives nutrition to the forest. If I can't do anything with my fabric scraps, if I can give those to a company who can do something with the fabric scraps, that's leaky but nutritious because it's being used and helping some other business case. So it's only waste if you don't use it. And then what, of course, can be done with the waste that can't be eliminated. So that's all about thinking creatively. What waste is coming from my products? How can I contain it, eliminate it, or reuse it? And that's the first principle. Okay, so this graphic shows an indication of waste in the global fashion industry, and this is where I spend my career. And this graphic was shared to me during the From Linear to Circular program. And something to focus on in regards to waste and pollution is right here. Okay, so 53 million tons of annual fiber production of clothing in the global fashion industry as of 2017. 12% losses in production. So what does that actually calculate out to? 53 times 12% equals 6.36 million tons of fiber is wasted annually in the fashion industry alone before it even gets to the consumer. That's just in the design and production phase. That's a huge amount. So as far as designing out waste and pollution for the fashion industry, for example, how can we cut down this 12%? What can we do with our waste and resources to reduce this, to eliminate it, to maybe feed some other industry? So globally, that's a big deal. 6.36 million tons of fibers thrown away as of 2017 in the fashion industry. Pretty sickening, huh? So it's why we got to switch to the circular economy. Okay, so moving on to principle number 2, keeping products and material in use. And this is the business case, the business structure and the business models that accompanies the design for a circular business model. So what if we could use products forever? What if, like food or packaging, for example, of course we can't use those products forever, but we can get them back into the system. We can keep them in use. Like food can be kept in use by going into the compost pile and turning back into a new crop. Clothing can be kept in use through resale markets or rental markets, upcycling, etc. So we want to keep products and materials in use. And that's kind of the biggest problem with the linear economy that we have right now, is where it's a disposable society. So I throw it away, but can I use it in some way? Okay, so these are the R's. We reuse. We want to keep reusing a product from person to person, over and over, keep the product and or the material that made up that product in use. We want to refurbish. Can we design products in a way so that they can be repaired or upgraded to prolong use? For example, I have an LG H high efficiency laundry machine washer, and they embed an intelligence. I can just go use my phone on my app to figure out what's wrong. And if it's a modular problem, I can be shipped, a piece to fix it, for example. I haven't had to use it yet, so I don't know how well that works. My laundry machine works fine. But can we embed intelligence or create modular design to refurbish our products to keep them in use longer? Can we remanufacture our products? Can we get them back from the customer to upgrade them, improve them, make them better, and then put them right back into the marketplace for longer? And you'll notice there's these bolded terms at the end of each. And recycling, of course. Move the screen over here. Design products made from pure materials so they can be returned to their natural state. So you'll notice each of these, ours has bolded things at the end here. Those are going to be what we're going to use in our small groups today. And we'll have more information on each of these, so don't worry, you don't have to write them down. But we'll go further into each of those bolded items. And something as a side effect of keeping products and materials in use that I think is a really, truly amazing solution. I believe keeping products in use can be a solution to help solve or at least reduce labor exploitation. And how does this happen? I'll use the fashion industry as an example. Labor exploitation globally is a huge problem. It's an enormous problem in the fashion industry, and I'm sure in other industries. Okay, so here, these are some Bangladeshi garment workers. They don't want to die for fashion. This is them protesting in 2018 when Bangladesh approved a minimum wage hike that was basically a slap in the face. It was kind of a joke. So they protested. They don't want to die for fashion. If any of you are familiar with the Rana Plaza 2012, there are a series of disasters in Bangladesh from 2012, 2013, and 2014 that were the worst, one after the other, a building collapse, a fire. The worst disasters in the global fashion industry history all happened within those 3 years in Bangladesh. Okay, so how can keeping products in use solve the problem of labor exploitation? When a product is sold only once, like clothing or fast fashion, the manufacturer, the brand, we have to make the most profit possible on that one sale. So what does that mean? It means I got to squeeze the bottom and squeeze my pennies. And really that leads to the race to the bottom in order to get labor and production costs as low as possible. If I only have one chance per product to make profit, then I got to squeeze out every single penny of profit I can get out of that. And that leads to labor exploitation, unfortunately. But if I can keep the product in use, meaning it's meant to be sold over and over and over again, there's more opportunities to earn profit on the exact same product. So suddenly now, the cheapest materials, the cheapest labor, it's not really the best solution for keeping products in use. And why is that? Because when we need to keep products in use and use them over and over and over again, we have to start sourcing the best materials, the high quality materials. We have to use the most skilled labor because we have to manufacture high quality products that can withstand repetitive use by users over a longer period of time. So keeping it in use, selling it over and over again, leads to greater thinking, greater design, higher skilled labor, and better materials. And I feel that's an amazing side effect of keeping products in use to help eliminate labor exploitation around the globe. Okay, so on our third system here, regenerating natural systems. So what if we could protect, but not just protect, but actively improve the environment? So here it says, a leaf that falls from the tree feeds the forest. Instead of doing less harm, we should aim to do good. We need to return valuable materials to the soil and other ecosystems. So the most obvious example of that is composting in the food system. That's something that, in my opinion, every municipality needs to have composting. When I lived in San Francisco, we had compost bins. Here in LA, I don't have a compost bin. But how can we regenerate natural systems outside the food structure? You don't necessarily have to be in the food structure to regenerate natural systems. There are biological cycles and use cases. So for example, we can cascade materials through other applications. So the example given here is if you burn a tree directly for energy, you use that value that could be harnessed as wooden products before eventual incineration. So if we burn the tree right out, we can't use the tree before we burn it. Maybe we can burn the tree after we've used it a little bit. In fashion, for example, with cotton, cotton can be mechanically recycled. It can be shredded down into fluffs and fillers for other products, and eventually it can be composted back into the system because it's a natural cotton material. So we can cascade these materials down through various applications within our own business, or maybe we can sell that material to another business or industry who can utilize it. So that's one example. Valuable feedstock getting extracted. So, for example, an orange peel can yield limonene, which can be used in cosmetics. Okay, can we get valuable feedstock out of other products? An example of that would be Pinatex, is a new vegan leather on the market that's really pineapple skins transitioned into a leather, you know, and that is from the harvesting of the pineapple. These husks, these skins are left over. So we eat the pineapple, but we can use these pineapple leaves and skins in a way to make leather for the future. And then returning it to the biosphere. Products, nutrients return to the earth after use by composting, biodegrading, but not in landfill because it doesn't really biodegrade in landfill. Okay. So, just to reiterate, doing less harm is no longer enough. We are past the days of being eco-friendly. It's not good enough to do less harm. We must aim to do good, and that is what the circular economy truly is about. That is the essence of the circular economy. You know, let's do good. Let's not just not do bad. Okay, so that was my short presentation to just introduce us to the principles of the circular economy and get us aware. So real quick, I just wanted to, here, I'm gonna go back to stop share, get back to my beautiful people here. All right, so just kind of wanted to open it up for a minute. Any questions, any comments, any examples of companies that you work with or that products that you use that are already circular? Go ahead and unmute yourself, and what are some circular companies or circular products you use or examples? Zoe.
Well, I pretty much use a lot of circular products. You know, it comes from clothing. You know, I was in the fashion business back in the 80s. I was a model, and that gave me like a real, you know, I saw it coming. And, but I do use, I have here, I'm in the living room. This is made out of cork, this chair. This lamp is made out of cardboard.
Awesome.
I don't know if you can see. The cats of the house, it's all. Anyway, the products in the house is everything. It's or a long product that lasts long, or are made out of materials that are upcycled.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So one product that I want to mention that I really love is that I actually work with. It's the Tetra Pak, which is the boxes that is made out of milk. And I have two projects with that it's beautiful. One is in Portugal, that we collect all the Tetra Pak, the boxes, and then we take this to a place that people with disability, and that's where we make the material for the bags and other products we make.
Oh,
So there they cut, they wash, and that's really good for their mental state, you know, because it's people with this mental disability. And then after, the material is taken into a women's prison, which is the social part, the social impact part of it. So I love that material to work with. You can do a lot of things with it.
awesome. Thank you. That cork and chair and the lamp, are those your designs, or are those?
Those are two designers that I work because, you know, as I was introducing myself, I work with designers from all over the world. And then I work with communities of crafters who makes the products. The cork one is made in Portugal,
Mhm.
and the cardboard one is a big project actually in Brazil
Cool.
that have turned into like, even like the cardboard, not only lamps, but also furniture, which is like stools and sofas. It's really nice.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else? Yeah, good job. Yeah, Carmen.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I live in LA, but right now I'm in Mexico because I work with women in jail, and also I have a project called Cats with a Heart. And we make these cats in all different sizes, and they're all made with fabrics donated by designers. This is all fabrics donated by Reformation. We have fabrics from Mara Hoffman. We have these beautiful fabrics made naturally dyed here in Mexico from a designers, and all the leftovers. So I collect all the leftovers, even the stuff is made of the leftovers. And we teach women in jail to make them so they have an income. And as so I was saying, it's very important for their you know, mental health also to be useful, and to have a job and to make money and to feel use, you know, like something that they can contribute also to the society. So we try to give them an opportunity to these women, and then when we sell the products, 50% of the profits are going to different organizations to fight child labor, especially in the fashion industry. As you were saying before, you know, the cheap labor and all this kind of bad side of the fashion industry. So we're trying to give back, to give back to the fashion industry from a point of view. And we use all the material, everything that we use, even from the labels, is materials that are donated to us that wouldn't be waste. And now they are beautiful cats that have a purpose. And we, in our studio here also, we work on trying to make zero waste. So every little threads and fabric that are out of our production, we put it inside the cats. So we really try to make it, and to not, making, especially pollution is where we are trying to fight and create this. So this is the project that I'm involved, and that's why I wanted to know more about circular design and how to create more products to being able to use more waste from the fashion industry.
Quick follow-up, why cats? Yeah. Why cats?
Do you know Thierry Janot in Mexico City?
Sorry, say it again?
Do you know Thierry Janot?
No.
He's a French designer. I would love to put you.
Oh, I would love it.
Yes.
I make cats because I think cats are very independent animals. So that's why we try to make for these women and also for kids. So we are trying to make these kids to have an education instead of a job when they are 6 or 10 years old. Sure. So they will become more independent and had the opportunity to choose a better life. And that's cats. that was the reason we started. Like also because I was making cats to my friends when they have babies. So that was kind of putting together. I work in the fashion industry as a consultant for the last 18 years. I've been living in London and in LA, and I worked for high-end fashion labels. So I never had a cat, even though people think that I'm a crazy cat lady. But I just made this kind of simple design once, and I was giving it to my friends using the fabrics that I was taking from the designers that were working, because I saw the amount of fabrics, beautiful fabrics, all from Italy, Spain, France, that they were throwing away every single day, or they were stuck in a room for years doing nothing, or they will end up in the being waste. So I started with this idea many, many years ago. And then it was just about 3 years ago when instead of me making the cats, so I decided to take it into a bigger place. So I was just trying to help other people that are in a really bad situation. In all countries is in jail, but especially in Mexico, they are in a really awful conditions.
Sure. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. One other person want to share before we, any circular products? Yeah, Deeksha.
Hi. Oh. Hi. I'm Diksha. I'm from India. I work with a designer in India who is based. We are a sustainable label, and we work with a lot of handloom and hand woven fabrics. So when we're done with making our garments and whatever waste that is left, we make like little accessories or little pocket square scarves out of it, and we gift it to our customers. So whenever there's an exhibition or something, so we try to gift these little things that we make out of the waste fabrics, and we give it to the customers. Sometimes we even try to sell it if we can. Otherwise, we give it to the customers. Another way, in more business aspect, that we sort of do the circular thing is that we try to make trans-seasonal garments. So whenever, suppose something from one store has completed its period, per se, we try to, instead of just taking it back and put it in our excess stock, we try to rotate it around the stores all over India. And so all our stores won't at one point have same stock. We try to shift it throughout the year. So that way we're able to sell all of our garments and we don't have anything excess in production. And whatever we have online, we try to make it, as in when we get orders. So we try to keep that much time in hand. So that's what we do.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing, everyone. I super appreciate it. You'll have more time to share. But real quick, I'm going to share my screen again and just kind of introduce this small group thing we're going to do.